Hi everyone, it's Brian Easterday here, and welcome to Eye of the Storm Astrology. So this is a channel that I've been feeling called to create and launch for a while now. First off, for those of you who might be familiar with me from my old channels, Mastering Midgard, that I started quite a few years ago, and then a channel that more recently I just recently left, called The Wizard Factory, where we had focused on teaching cosmic law, occult knowledge, different pagan and animist type of mythologies, that type of thing. And over the years, as I've been growing in my skill as a Vedic astrologer and finding just how vast the ocean of Jyotish really is, I've been feeling more and more called to devote my time fully towards that. Just realizing just how much it really is my dharma, and how much I just truly enjoy it. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. So, a little bit of my background, like I said, for those who may not be familiar with me from some of my other channels, my other work that I've done, I've been a student of natural law, cosmic law, and the occult sciences for about, that's count, but maybe a little over 10 years now, or something like that. It's been my path for a while, to say the least. And Jyotish is something that I really first discovered about 5 years ago. And as soon as I found it, I absolutely fell in love. And I've, again, been growing in my relationship with it and with the grahas. And again, just falling more and more in love with it the more I learn about it. So I've then decided to move more of my focus to this, so I can devote my time 100% towards astrology, and then being able to teach it as well, because that is my other passion, is being able to share this amazing science with others, because it's been the most useful tool in my path work that I found for my own self-development, and for even working with others, whether it's in my relationship, how I go about parenting. I have 3 children, and my wife and I, we look at their charts all the time, and it's very useful many times. So it's really something that I've applied in all areas of my life, and just found its value to be, you can't really put it into words. I'll say that. So as far as the name of the channel, Eye of the Storm Astrology, why Eye of the Storm Astrology? Well, it's very multi-layered reasons. But in short, one, it has a lot to do with like my chart and my personal Rudalagna, which is a concept I'll talk about later on here on the channel in future episodes. You'll probably hear me talk about it quite a bit, because it's a very important concept. Um, but in my personal chart, I have quite a lot of planets, like in my eighth house, like 5 planets, if you're wanting to include some of the outer planets, because Pluto's sitting there as well. But besides just those 5 planets, I have a lot of nakshatras, which are, for those of you who may not be familiar, nakshatras are the lunar constellations, or the constellations that the moon passes through on its ecliptic. And I have quite a few nakshatras besides just in all those planets in the eighth house that are just tend to be very stormy kind of nakshatras. For example, Ardra and Mula nakshatra. My Jupiter is in Ardra, and my Mula nakshatra is where Venus sits. So I've always been a person that I've been kind of a stormy person, or I've had a lot of very challenging situations in my life, and went through a lot of death and rebirths, and that type of theme. Hence why you can see I've probably been drawn into the world of the occult, and practice as a Vedic astrologer professionally. Those type of things absolutely fascinate me. The path of the human soul and the development of the consciousness, to me, there's nothing more exciting than that. But one of the lessons that I've learned in working with my chart, or I'll share a few lessons, and these are some of my foundational beliefs as a Vedic astrologer, and kind of the mindset and way that I go about actually practicing astrology, because I do practice it a little bit differently than other people, not necessarily from technique or anything like that, but just in the way I see and read a chart. I have a slightly different perspective on things. So first and foremost, I don't believe there's any such thing as a bad chart. I don't think there's any such thing as a bad placement. Can there be difficult charts? Absolutely. Can there be difficult placements? Absolutely. But something that I've always told my clients and my students is our strength can be our weaknesses and our weaknesses our strengths. So when you operate from the mindset that what I call doom and gloom astrology, it's very deterministic, very fatalistic of, oh, you have this conjunction and this Dashtana house, so of course your life is just going to be terrible. That's, if you're practicing astrology that way, stop. You shouldn't be doing it because it's not meant for you. You're misinterpreting the science. Every single graha, rashi, nakshatra, every single placement and combination of them anyone could possibly have in a chart has both its higher expression and its lower expression, its challenges and its lessons. We're all here to learn. All of our placements all have their own karmas, their own challenges and experiences that we have to have in order to teach us different lessons. So I operate from the understanding, and this is another thing you'll hear me say a lot on this channel, and those of you who are familiar with my work, you'll have heard me say before, awareness creates choice. You want to sum up the entirety of the universe, you can do it in that statement. Awareness creates choice. By becoming more aware, we then have the choice to choose how to work with that energy, to work with that archetype, with that deity associated with the nakshatra. So the purpose of astrology is not to look at your chart and say, oh, I'm just doomed, or oh, I'm going to be very rich just because the chart, or something like that. Not at all. The purpose of looking at the chart is so you can learn to see yourself in an intimate way, to understand your karmas, your psychological patterns and behaviors. So as you create that awareness, you create the opportunity to exercise your free will more, to exercise your choice, and choose to integrate and learn those lessons that you, as an Atma, as a soul, came here to learn. So when I look at the chart, I'm always looking at it from the perspective of how do we go about creating awareness so we can create choice, hopefully the choice to improve ourselves and to be the best version of ourselves. That's my ultimate goal. Now back to the name, Eye of the Storm. When you think about it, you can think about that shape of the eye of the storm. If you were to picture a hurricane, that same universal shape can be seen in many different ways. If you actually look at our solar system, look at the cosmos, it's in this shape, with the galactic center being the eye of that storm, where source consciousness comes from, where it's strongest. And then everything else, this kind of chaotic, but also ordered, whirling and spinning around it. The same with like a hurricane. There's this calmness in the center, but it's the source of that strength and power. And then all the chaos revolves around it. Well, in my life, I've very much had to learn to be the eye within the storm, or sometimes to learn that I am the storm. And those have definitely not necessarily always been the easiest lessons to learn, but there's value in having those challenging experiences. Learning that, like, when you go through life, you could think of life like this storm that you're constantly going through, and you want to be, even the world may be seeming to fall apart around you, you want to be able to be that calm in the center, that source of strength. And that doesn't mean never show stormy emotions, never get angry or upset or anything like that. No, 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 no. You can absolutely be upset. You can express stormy emotions, but still be in this place of center and calm. Like, that's where you're coming from, is that place of centeredness, even though everything around you may seem very destructive at the time. And to be able to hold both of those at the same time, that's definitely a lesson that we're all here to learn to master at some point or another. And, even if you think about, our solar system and everything, it's just this giant cosmic storm, and then Jyotish, Vedic astrology, is known as the eye of the Vedas. So it's the science through which we can view, we can see this storm and see the purpose in it. We can step into that center place of seeing, where's the source coming from? Why is this happening? How is this playing out? And by having that awareness, it gives us the choice to stay in that place, in that center, in that eye of the storm, while still observing everything that's going on around, but without having to be so swept away by it. It lets you have a place of being able to step into more self-responsibility, more control of your life, being able to align yourself with the forces of nature and work with them rather than just be subject to them from a place of nescience or ignorance. And then by aligning work with them and working with them, you can actually achieve much more. So there's no area of life astrology can't actually be applied to. So, I don't want to get, too into this because obviously many more videos to come. This is just an intro video to introduce myself, introduce the channel, and kind of the general concept behind it. That, my ultimate goal is to, help people look at their charts. And even if you feel like you may have a difficult placement or a challenging chart, to look at it, to reframe the mindset and to look at it in a totally new way, where we actually see that, no, this challenge is here for a reason, and it's here to help me learn and empower myself and grow as an Atma, to grow as a soul in my awareness. And that's really the essence of what I want to be able to do, is to help others through this understanding of the science, and ideally to be able for them to be able to learn it themselves and apply it in their own lives, because that's what I would like to do, is to pass on the knowledge that was given to me, and that I'm constantly learning through my application and experience, and working on developing a personal relationship with the grahas and the deities ruling the nakshatras, and all of the different elements that we see in the chart. These are living beings. These are a consciousness that you can develop a personal relationship with. And it's great to go look at the ancient text and all of those different sources, and read all of that. That's obviously very necessary. But developing a personal relationship, learning to love your chart, which I'll get into more in my next video, is definitely a great first step in perspective as a way of going about starting your journey into Vedic astrology. So that's going to wrap this up. I just wanted to kind of do a short, intro video to who I am, what the channel's about, and everything. I do still offer Vedic astrology consultations and everything. I'm in the process of still kind of getting everything set up since I'm rebranding. But in the meantime, if you are interested in one of those, you can shoot me an email at eyeofthestormastrology@gmail.com. And we can set up any type of thing through that as I'm finishing building the website out here. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please do me a favor, like and subscribe. That'll help get the channel up and going. Share it around if you feel so called to do so. I greatly appreciate it. And let me know your experience with Vedic astrology in the comments, or any subjects that you would like me to cover, get into, any people you'd like me to maybe bring on an interview. I'd love to hear all your suggestions. So please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I'll see you next time.